Questions 1 through 10 on the 2008 Grade 12 AMC 12B. A basketball player made 5 baskets during a game. Each basket was worth either 2 or 3 points. How many different numbers could represent the total points scored by the player? If all the shots were 2-pointers, it would be 10 points, right? 5 times 2. If 4 of them were 2-pointers and 1 was a 3-pointer, then he would score 11. If 3 were 2-pointers and 2 were 3-pointers, that would be 12. It's 6 plus 6. And similarly, if 2 were 2-pointers and 3 were 3-pointers, that becomes 4 plus 9, which is 13. 1 2-pointer, 4 3-pointers, 12 plus 2, which is 14. And finally, all 3-pointers, and that would be 15 points. So the total different numbers in terms of the point total, and 6 of them. So number 1, the answer is E. A 4x4 block of calendar dates is shown. The order of the numbers in the second row is to be reversed, then the order of the numbers in the fourth row is to be reversed. Finally, the numbers on each diagonal are to be added. What will be the positive difference between the two diagonal sums? We have to rearrange this. So the first row we just leave alone. The second row we have to reverse. So it becomes 11, 10, 9, 8, like that. The third row, 15, 16, 17, 18. And the last row, 25, 24, 23, 22. And now we've got to take the numbers in each diagonal, that one, and get the positive difference, right? So this diagonal, the sum is 25 plus 16 plus 9 plus 4. And we have to subtract from that this diagonal. And that sum is 22 plus 17 plus 10 plus 1. And if you do that, let's see, we got 3 minus 1 plus 3. That's 6 minus 2, which is 4. So number 2, the answer is B. A semi-pro baseball league has teams with 21 players each. League rules state that a player must be paid at least $15,000 and that the total of all players' salaries for each team cannot exceed $700,000. What is the maximum possible salary in dollars for a single player? 21 players. We are going to divide them into 20 players and 1 player. That is going to be the highest paid. So he's like the superstar of the team. So we're going to do extreme case scenarios. So each of these 20 players gets the league minimum, which is a measly 15 grand. So if you multiply 20 times 15,000, those 20 players in total get 300,000. The max is 700,000, so all of the remaining amount can go to the superstar, and that's 400 grand. And as you can see, the total will be 700,000. So number 3, the answer is C. On circle O, points C and D are on the same side of diameter AB. AOC angle is 30 and DOB angle is 45. What is the ratio of the area of the smaller sector COD to the area of circle B? Well, this angle is something we obviously need to figure out. Since BA represents the diameter, this whole thing is 180. So this angle in here, which would be angle COD, is going to be equal to 180 minus 30 minus 45. And that is equal to 105 degrees. So there we go. So to figure out the area of sector COD, it's going to be 105 degrees over the full all the way around, which is 360. And that's it. That's basically the fraction. And in lowest terms, that is 7 over 24. So number 4, the answer is D. A class collects $50 to buy flowers for a classmate who is in the hospital. Roses cost $3 and carnations cost $2. No other flowers are to be used. How many different bouquets could be purchased for exactly $50? So 3 times roses plus 2 times carnations is $50. So this question is the equivalent of asking what are the integer solutions for that formula, because we can't have, non-integer values for R and C. So here we go. Let's start. If R is 0, C will be 25. So we got one integer solution. If R is 1, C is 47 over 2. Well, that can't work, right? Because you can't have 47 over 2 carnations. I guess you could, but obviously that's not what they want. So 2 would give you 22. 3 would give you 41 over 2, and so on, right? We're looking for integer solutions. And very quickly you can see that every other one will give you an integer solution. So 6 will give you 16, 8 will give you 13, 12 will give you, sorry, I missed a 10 in there, 10 will give you 10, and 12 is 7, 14 is 4, and finally the last one, 16 is 1. So how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 solutions. So number 5, the answer is C. Postman Pete has a pedometer to count his steps. The pedometer records up to 99,999 steps, then flips over to 0 on the next step. Pete plans to determine his mileage for a year. On January 1st, Pete sets the pedometer to 0. During the year, the pedometer flips from 99999 to 0 44 times. On December 31st, the pedometer reads 50,000. Pete takes 1,800 steps per mile. Which of the following is closest to the number of miles Pete walked during the year? So 100,000 is the full number of steps for the pedometer, right? And that happens 44 times. And then at the end, there's an additional 50,000 steps. So this is the total number of steps. And then you divide by 1,800 to get the number of miles. So there you go. That's the mathematical equation. Now you can chop off 2 zeros from everything, make this math a little bit easier. 500 all over 18 like that. And if you do, this comes to approximately 2472 miles. And therefore, it's closest to which of the numbers? For number 6, it would be A. For real numbers A and B, define A $B to be A minus B squared. What is the value of that expression? So we've got X minus Y all squared, $Y minus X all squared. And using this definition, that's going to be X minus Y all squared minus Y minus X all squared, and then the whole thing all squared. So let's do what's in the big brackets first. That's X squared minus 2XY plus Y squared, and then minus Y squared plus 2XY minus X squared, like this. And this looks like this cancels with that cancels with that, and that cancels with that. So we got 0. And 0 squared is 0, so number 7, the answer is A. Points B and C lie on AD. The length of AB is 4 times the length of BD, and the length of AC is 9 times the length of CD. The length of BC is what fraction of the length of AD? All right, so we're going to need a little bit of a diagram here. So here's this big long line, and we've got A and D. And the first thing that they're saying is that somewhere in here there's a B. And AB, the distance from there to there, is 4 times the distance from B to D. So if this is 4x, this has got to be x. Then they're saying that there's a C somewhere, perhaps here, and the length from A to C, which is going to be from there to there, is 9 times the length from C to D. So if this is 9y, this is y. All right? So the first thing is that AD is represented by 5x, but it's also represented by 10y. So solving this, that's x is equal to 2y. And then we want a comparison between the length of BC to the length of AD. There's going to be some sort of a fraction there. That's going to go right there. Okay, well, what is BC? BC is from there to there, which is x minus y. And then AD, I can write it in terms of either x or y. It doesn't really matter. I'll just write it in terms of y, I guess. And that's going to be 10y. Well, x, I just figured out was 2y, so I can substitute that in like that. And therefore, we got y is equal to 10y. So the fraction that goes in there has got to be 1 over 10. And if you do that, then the equation would hold true. So 1/10 is the answer to number 8, and that would be choice C. Points A and B are on a circle of radius 5 and AB is 6. Point C is the midpoint of the minor arc AB. What is the length of segment AC? Let's draw a circle here. We got a circle. And then we'll draw a line, AB, approximately, maybe that's too big. I think that should be okay. And then we've got to draw a radius, so I'll draw the radius, and then I'll draw a line straight across. And I think that should be enough for in terms of labeling. All right, so let's see here. Approximately, this is A, this is B, and then I'll just call this O, and this is C, based entirely on the information given in the question stem. And the radius is 5, and AB is 6, so that means since this line chops it in half, this will be 3 from there to there. And very quickly you can notice that this is a 3, 4, 5 triangle, since that is a right angle right there. So this distance is going to be 4. And therefore, since this is the radius, this has got to be 1, right? Because the radius is 5 and this is 4. So they want me to figure out the distance from A to C. So they want this distance right there. Okay, that shouldn't be a problem. That can be done using Pythagoras. So AC squared is equal to 3 squared plus 1 squared. So that's 10. And therefore AC is root 10. So number 9, the answer is A. Bricklayer Brenda would take 9 hours to build a chimney alone. Bricklayer Brandon would take 10 hours to build it alone. When they work together, they talk a lot, and their combined output is decreased by 10 bricks per hour. Working together, they build the chimney in 5 hours. How many bricks are in the chimney? Brenda, her rate is the number of bricks divided by 9. So that's how many bricks per hour that she can build, I guess. And then Brandon, in a very similar way, his output or rate is B over 10 bricks per hour. And when they work together, you're going to add these, of course, B over 9 plus B over 10. But then you have to subtract 10 bricks per hour because their output is decreased when they work together, because they talk a lot, talk together. And then this is the rate, but you have to multiply this by the number of hours that they worked, which they tell you is 5. And when you do that, that will give you the total number of bricks that they build. So this is the mathematical equation. This is the setup to the question, and this will allow me to solve for B, which is the number of bricks. All right, so let's get a common denominator. 10B plus 9B all over 90 minus 10, and this is all multiplied by 5 is equal to B. So let's see here, 19B over 90 times 5, and then minus 50 is equal to B. So this looks like 19B over 18 minus B is equal to 50, and then get common denominator top and bottom by 18. So we'll have 19B minus 18B, which is just B, and then bring the 18 over here to the other side, and therefore B will be 18 times 50, which is 900. So the number of bricks is 900, and therefore number 10, the answer is B.